Welcome, Taleo's Executive Vice President, Worldwide Field Operations and Chief Customer Officer, Neil Hudspeth, and Taleo's Vice President of the Business Transformation Practice, Laura Butler.
Good morning, everybody, and a very warm welcome to Taleo World 2011. I'm Neil Hudspeth, and it is my privilege, sincerely, to be your co-host for the duration of Taleo World. My co-host this year is Laura Butler.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you. Welcome to Taleo World 2011. This year's Taleo World is packed with truly inspiring speakers, thought leadership sessions, and networking opportunities like no other. Additionally, the social media opportunities that you saw on the screen earlier with tweeting, Facebook, and even our new premier partner, LinkedIn, allow you to update your networks in real time as you gain new insights about all that you're about to take in. More on that from Neil later.
Cheers, Laura. Thanks a lot. So let me just start by saying how delighted I am to see how many familiar faces we have here in the 1,600 plus attendees we have at this year's Taleo World. The response this year has been totally phenomenal. And I'm also delighted to welcome some of our customers for the first time from Learn, from Cytiva, and from Job Partners. It's great to have you with us. We're also thrilled, we're delighted to be here in San Francisco, one of the top destinations in the world. Hopefully you'll get a little bit of time to witness those rolling hills, take in some of that eclectic architecture, and see some of those famous landmarks, the Golden Gate Bridge, the famously crooked Lombard Street, Chinatown and Fisherman's Wharf. And here we sit in the center of San Francisco's shopping district. So if you get a bit of time, help with the economy. San Francisco this year is not our only stop in Taleo World. We have extended Taleo World in 2011 for the first time globally. Taleo APAC 2011 will be held October 18 and 19 in Sydney, Australia. And Taleo Europe 2011 will be held November 8th and 9th in Paris, France. Two great cities to visit. And please tell all of your colleagues in those regions we will be bringing to them provocative talent management best practices and awesome content. So it would be remiss of me as the host not to spend, the co-host, a moment on some housekeeping. I'm sure you've all been waiting for that. Before we get to a deep dive, Laura mentioned earlier that Taleo World 2011 is social media paradise. In other words, and I know you will without me asking, please feel free to tweet us any comments, as long as they're really, really good, over the next few days. Our Twitter hashtag, we hope you all find easy, is #TaleoWorld. And also this year, we brought Taleo World for the first time into the palm of your hands. We've developed a specific app for Taleo World that you can download even on your iPhone, your Android, or your BlackBerry. With this application, you can see the agenda and breakout sessions, add sessions to your personal My World Taleo calendar to plan your day on your device, and use the social section to tweet and access Twitter and Facebook to catch all the latest news and add yours. So be sure to go to your app store and download that app and check out all of those cool extras.
One final innovation this year has us going even more green. This year's Taleo World evaluation will be completed online, and it's also available on your mobile device. At the end of each day, you'll be provided a link in your email to access your survey right from your smartphone. For your convenience, we've also set up a couple of convenience feedback stations. You can also drop by the Clear Picture Partner booth, booth number 51, the Taleo registration desk, or the Taleo lounge area. Tell us what you think of this year's conference and all the different sessions. Please complete this year's evaluation online, and for your effort, we'll also give you a copy of Condoleezza Rice's best-selling memoir, Extraordinary Ordinary People, a memoir of family. We really do value your feedback and try to improve the conference every year. And speaking of providing your feedback, a few notes on the Taleo Innovation Awards. As many of you know, these awards are designed to honor and recognize Taleo enterprise customers that advance talent management initiatives using innovation, leadership, and best practices. After companies are nominated, their qualifications and achievements are evaluated by an independent panel of HR leaders. Last year, for the first time, we involved you in the voting for the overall winner. This year, we're making a little change. Don't worry, you'll still be able to vote. However, you'll be doing that at the Innovation Awards luncheon tomorrow. So we'll introduce the videos of the top 3 candidates for the 2011 Taleo Innovation Awards, Axiom, RGIS, and Rogers Communications. We'll show these videos throughout the general sessions and then do one final recap at tomorrow's luncheon. Then you can vote for your favorite innovation story. If you were with us in Chicago last year, you'll recall that our CEO, Michael Gregoire, talked about Taleo's secret sauce, talent intelligence. We're excited to share this year how talent intelligence is transforming organizations like those represented in this room. For those of you who aren't familiar with talent intelligence, simply, it will change the way you approach your business.
Thanks, Laura. Did you download that app?
I did. I have my whole schedule, the wallpaper, everything but the tattoo.
Okay, we'll be checking. No tattoo. In a few moments, Michael Gregoire will expand on talent intelligence and discuss what the exciting future holds for us all. And I can tell you, there's a lot coming down the road. Social media developments, mobile capabilities, and more insight and thought leadership you can bring to your meeting and boardroom tables. Since Taleo World 2010, we've already seen some great things from our launch of talent intelligence. We've seen that talent intelligence is revolutionizing the way we work with our biggest asset, talent. We'll hear some of our customers talk about the impact of talent intelligence as we move through Taleo World. We've watched talent intelligence lead to innovation, as the Innovation Awards will showcase. This week in San Francisco, you will explore all of these topics and so much more. To get us started, here is a video that illustrates the impact of talent intelligence and the impact it's having already on the world of talent management.
Everybody's looking for growth. And in order to get growth, business leaders are really thinking about what you do all day and every day because they know investing in people, their most appreciating asset, is the highest probability for them to find growth. You want to have some objective, hard, business-oriented data. We call this talent intelligence.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Taleo's Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, Michael Gregoire.
Good morning. It's great to have all of you here. What a great room full of talent intelligence. This has been our greatest and largest Taleo World ever, and I want to thank all of you for making that happen. I know many new faces are here, and many faces have been here for multiple years, and I just wanted to say what a great pleasure it is to see this room fully packed, and I apologize for squishing you all together. We were expecting about 1,500 people, and we ended up about 2 weeks ago knowing we're going to have over 1,600 people and tried to make arrangements for that. But it's just great to have this many folks here all talking about talent intelligence. So I'm going to talk about the future of talent management, but I think it's important to set a little bit of context and a reference point for where we started from. I started using the word talent management in 2005, and friends and colleagues of mine thought I worked at a company that did cloud software for managing models and actors and keeping track of their contracts. What a great change we've seen from a parody of Entourage to talking about what is the most important thing driving business. And we can see that in all of the studies that happen, most importantly, one that's done every year by PwC. PwC interviews about 400 CEOs and tries to just get a gauge for what's the most topical thing going on in their business, or what are they paying the most attention to. For the last 3 years, in the upper quadrant of the thing that CEOs are most worried about is talent and talent management. Getting the right people into the company and making sure when they get there, they're working on the most important things that drive business and that they stay. It's not lost on anyone that if you want to drive your business and grow, talent management is the most important idea. And you can see from the video we just showed, we've started to have that conversation. Last year, we pushed the envelope saying we wanted a more holistic approach. We wanted an approach that was more inclusive, a suite. And over the last year, we brought to market a full suite of products, recruiting, performance, compensation, and learning, to try to drive a closed-loop, holistic view on talent management. Now, we've also seen a very volatile economy. And in a volatile economy, one of the things that we've learned is that the companies that pay attention to talent management, they are the differentiators. They're the ones that win. They're the ones that differentiate between innovation and stagnation, between growth and non-growth, between market leaders and market laggards. We have been in an unbelievably volatile environment for a number of years. You guys all remember back in 2008 when we went through the U.S. banking crisis? Very difficult time for most HR professionals. Fast forward to this summer, we have the global issue with respect to sovereignty crisis. With all of this uncertainty, one thing is certain for sure: talent matters. The companies that pay attention to it are the companies that win. One company that has done a phenomenal job of understanding talent management is CDW. CDW is a multi-billion-dollar reseller and distributor. They took a very novel approach where they said, you know what? We have to revamp all of our talent management processes. If we're going to be the market winner, we've got to put our effort in our most important asset, which is our people. They redid their whole HR processes, starting right from the career section. And they didn't start at the career section with an idea of just putting up a web page. They took a much more broader approach. They wanted to be able to show their culture and their brand because they know that many people that apply for a job are also customers. They wanted to make that candidate experience a winning experience, something that candidates, when they looked at this company, said, hey, I really want to work for this company. This is a cool company. They care about me. They're asking the smart questions, and this is a company I can work for. The next thing they did is they wanted to extend that first introduction with the career site into onboarding. They wanted a professional experience, so they didn't want someone to show up to work, not have a PC, not have a phone, not know who their manager is. They took care of all that, and then they tied that person to all their goals. And what is expected of you to win at CDW? The next step was driving this out to all of the managers. And you're going to hear a lot of that today, and you're going to hear a lot of that over the next year, is getting managers to use these applications. The manager has the best insight into what that employee should be doing and how well they're doing it. By rolling out the full suite, what CDW found is they drove utilization of these applications to levels they've never had before. And in the meantime, they had a 48% reduction in cost. This is what we're talking about by business performance, by driving talent management. Now, many of you might ask, how do they do it? Well, CDW is just one example. We have 5,000 customers. And one of the great things about my job is I get to talk to all of you all year long. Try to understand what's happening in your world, what's happening globally. How are we spending our R&D dollars to make sure that we're solving the right problems? And if I was to sum up through all my conversations and the research work that we've done, it really comes down to three fundamental things that are most important, or trends, driving the future of talent management in 2011 going into 2012. First, and by far most important, we're seeing a tipping point in where talent management strategy is being melded with business strategy. It's not separated. The ability for HR professionals to sit at the table and drive what a business does all day, every day, is more prevalent than it's ever been. And you can see this happening where we see more companies doing this, not less. Secondly, you've seen a little bit of this today, social technology. It's pervasive. It's affecting all of our applications, and it's affecting all of your business processes. And lastly, this ubiquitous technology called mobile. What are we doing as HR professionals and for Taleo as a software company to enable this wonderful tool? The best way for us to think about this is to start off by taking a look at a company that's really starting to employ some of these talents where they're driving at the business level what the next and future leaders of their company is looking like. Let's have a look at this video.
United Airlines is one of the world's largest global airlines and was a founding member of the Star Alliance. United knew it had to make bold transformational changes. And specifically in the HR division, we know we had to move quickly and have an integrated approach to people, processes, and technology. Having used Taleo's applicant tracking system since 2000, and knowing that we wanted to have an integrated approach, we looked again at Taleo and the suite of tools that they had for performance management. Having an integrated platform allowed us to capture indicative user data upfront at the applicant tracking system, move that directly into our HRMS, where it is then available for our performance management and succession planning processes.
By leveraging our Taleo solution, we've really been able to improve the quality of those conversations when we're sitting down and going through the 9-box, talking about the leadership talent, and it's really helped us to focus the conversation on what's most important and drive toward decisions.
What a great example of a company that's really using HR and HR's opinion on who the future leaders of that company should be. What we're finding is a big switch in what HR professionals do all day, every day. The companies that are winning and adopting sophisticated processes are companies that put HR in a different light. This is where HR is working more on business and business strategy, and managers are doing more work in the HR world. If you're an HR generalist managing 350 people, you're not going to have that big of an impact. It's impossible. We need to put the work and the tools where it's going to have the most amount of impact. And that's at the manager level. A manager managing 8 to 10 employees is going to have a much bigger impact on an employee than an HR generalist managing 350 people. This manager knows what it takes to get that job done, so they should have a direct impact on what the hiring process should be and what that skill set should be. They're the ones that are responsible for the goal and goal alignment. They're the ones that are responsible for making sure that these goals get done and evaluating the employee. Why don't they do this? They don't do this because they don't want to. They do this because they don't have the tools. They don't have the tools and the process that make it easy. You take a look at HR. What should HR be doing? Administrative work? Or should be doing more of the thought leadership work? HR needs to be multiple quarters ahead, answering the strategic questions of how the business runs. Where am I spending my recruiting dollars? Do I have the right talent pool? How's our performance management and succession planning going? You need to have opinions on this. Forecasting. Pulling HR into the forecast, especially a sales forecast, is a great indicator of forecast accuracy. If you don't have enough sales professionals to match a sales forecast, anyone in HR will be able to tell you you're not going to make that number. These are questions that only you can answer. The key is putting yourself in a position to answer these questions by having the right data. This is what we're talking about with talent intelligence. This is the thing that's changing. HR used to be an administrative function. There's a significant differentiator. Can you remember when HR used to be called the personnel department? Stacks of paper, never invited to anything interesting that was going on. The most interesting thing is the office politics. That's not where we're at anymore. This is about driving business, but it's a lot more complicated. And in the last several years, we've become very lean. And this has caused a significant problem for most of your management teams, finding growth. I'm going to argue that nobody can find growth better than HR. What we see right now is a lot of companies with a lot of push-down morale. Employees aren't happy. They want to work in a place where managers care about them. They want to work where they feel that they can get advancement. Number one reason why white-collar workers leave their job is they don't feel they can get promoted. Why do they feel this way? What are we doing about it? I can tell you right now, if you are not happy, you're not going to be creative. Growth comes from creativity. Our job as HR professionals is to create an environment of creativity so we can grow. Every single CEO is trying to solve one problem, and it's not productivity, it's growth. We have never been more productive in the private sector. We have never had stronger balance sheets ever. We have a lot of cash. Grab any newspaper over the last month, and what's it about? Jobs, jobs, jobs. This whole election in 2012 is going to be about jobs. The whole issue that we're seeing in Europe is about work and workforce productivity. It's about growth. You are in a unique position to help companies grow. But there are a lot of challenges associated with that because your job's changed, your environment's changed, and if you want to have the conversation at a business level, you have to be able to overcome these challenges. First of all, the pressure on all of you to find a replacement worker is extraordinary. Line supervisors think that you're going to have that perfect candidate as soon as somebody leaves. They might get sick, they might get promoted, they might go work somewhere else. The responsibility is on you to get that replacement. And that's hard. How do you make that happen? You have to constantly be working your talent pools, constantly be working your networks. It becomes more and more difficult. The second problem, or second challenge, and this is something relatively new over the last couple of years, is you just inherited and you didn't even know it was happening. Hiring a new full-time employee is a big deal. Once again, grab any newspaper. It's about jobs. It's about direct employment. In an effort to avoid direct employment because of all the things associated with direct employment, we've moved to a contingent-type workforce. Overnight, you've ended up being responsible for contractors, contingent workers, consultants. All of these people affect your processes. They affect the culture of the company. They affect how you do your everyday job. They affect the other people that are in the company. And you kind of just inherited having to take care of them. That's become very difficult. And lastly, social and mobile have driven even a bigger problem, which is globalization. This mobile phenomenon is not going to go away. It's only going to get exacerbated by the proliferation of technology. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. We just need to be aware of it. You know, last year there was approximately 1 billion mobile workers. By 2013, that's going to go to 1.2 billion. In the U.S., by 2013, approximately 75% of workers are going to be identified as mobile workers. This is something that is extremely important, and it can be a blessing and it can be a curse. If you know how to tap into a global workforce and be able to find talent anywhere, understand their skills, you are going to put your company in a competitive advantage. If you don't understand how to build these talent pools and understand how to find these folks and be able to make them productive, you are going to be at a significant competitive disadvantage. This is something that mobile and social can be helpful to productivity and growth, but for those that don't understand how to harness it, it's going to be an impediment. So what do? There's 4 things that have to happen. First of all, you've got to get the right tools and processes in place. And what I mean by the right tools and processes, this can't be a homework exercise by HR. You know, hi, I'm here from corporate office, here to help you. That's not going to work. If these tools are not usable by line managers, They won't get used. You will not be able to trap data. You will not be able to harness the talent intelligence, which is the most important thing, because you have to be able to set policy, be able to set strategy, to be out ahead of the business and what the business needs to run. You're not going to be able to have that unless people are using these tools. And then lastly, once you have these analytics and you have this information, it can't be HR speak. Cost to hire, interesting, not terribly relevant. You need to be able to talk in the language of business. How does my cost of hire affect my cash flow? How does my succession planning help with our P&L? How does our future product line affected by the talent we have in India? These are the kinds of questions that only you can answer. These are the kinds of questions that need to be answered, but most management teams don't have any clue what's going on. This is something that HR and HR professionals with the right talent intelligence can answer. Now, a company that's done a great job of using talent intelligence to deal with global talent is one of our award nominees this year. Let's have a look at how they've done it.
RGIS is a data collection, space optimization supply chain company. But what we're best known for are the inventories we take around the world.
We are a very large company, but with a very small company feel. And the organizations, the districts that we have across the globe are like a little company within themselves.
We have reduced turnover by over 100% since we put Taleo in place. We've been able to standardize processes across the globe. So everybody now is using the same recruiting, hiring, and staffing processes. We use Taleo and partner with the third parties, the Passport members, to help us with our Work Opportunity Tax Credit compliance, with our background screens. RGIS distinguishes itself from our competitors because of our people. And coupled with our state-of-the-art technology, we can deliver accurate and efficient counts that our customers rely on.
What a great example of talent intelligence. This is taking a very global, serious problem that affects every aspect of their business, using talent intelligence with HR a seat at the table on how to solve it. These are the kinds of impacts we can have to business if we're paying attention to the data and collecting the data on a regular basis. This is part of business planning and business execution. If I was to sum up this one part of the talk, it's that talent management strategies and business strategies are synonymous. I don't think you're going to be able to put a boardroom presentation on in the future where you don't take a look at what the talent and the workforce planning is required to make that strategy work. It's definitely the most important thing when you're trying to build a business plan, is understanding how that business plan is going to work and how that's going to work with people. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is social technology. Social management is transforming, social technologies are transforming talent management. We've seen this in all of our applications. It's forcing us to rethink how users want to use Taleo applications. It's forcing us to think how users want to collect data, how much data they want to share. It's been pervasive across all of our applications. Now, one of the best examples of understanding how pervasive this is taking a look at another company that's really driven social technology through Taleo. Let's have a look at Acxiom.
Acxiom helps the largest companies across the globe take care of their customers. We help them acquire their customers, we help them grow their customers, and we help them engage their customers.
We have a lot of technical candidates that we're trying to get our jobs in front of, and Taleo helps us not only do that, but also measure the success of each of our efforts. Recently, we not only were putting jobs out in front of our candidates through job boards, whether they're common job boards or niche job boards, but we also started some social media recruiting, and was really excited to see the results of our efforts on Twitter. The auto tweets that we've been putting out about our jobs have resulted in over 6,000 clicks per month, which really surprised everyone that was involved.
Social media is a sweet spot for Acxiom in our core business. And so as we look out to reach candidates in new ways, social media is right where we want to be. That is what we're going to use. So it's very exciting that Taleo is coming forth with some new offerings in this new space.
So social's affected all the Taleo applications, and we've had to take the last year to stop, pause, and rethink how people are going to use all of our applications, whether it be recruiting, performance management, or learning. To give you a feel for that, take a look at recruiting. We were the first to post jobs out on Facebook and Twitter. Not terribly that exciting. You know, it was something that we did. We were one of the first companies to make that happen. But that's not where the real action is. The real action is being able to drive into each of your employees' social network and getting the permission to do that. This is really happening in employee referrals. In 2005, about 30% of net new hires came from referrals. Fast forward to where we are today, it's about 70%. This is incredibly important because getting referrals is the highest quality employee you can attract. They've already been vetted by someone that you already know. They're probably going to fit into the culture because they've already, once again, they've been vetted by somebody that understands their personality. It's the easiest, most effective way and cost-effective way of getting employees into your company. Those that understand how to tap into their employees' social networks have a leg up on the recruiting process. Performance management, a little bit different. Early days in social with respect to performance management. But this is something we should all welcome. Performance management, as we all know, has been broken for years. In general, most companies just do an awful job at performance management. Take a look at some of these statistics. The average manager can only identify 50% of their top performers, and only 49% of leaders get sufficient feedback. You know, these are not the kind of statistics that we as an HR community want. We need to change this. Now, it would be very easy for all of us to rip on managers for not doing a good job. I mean, that's an easy thing to do. But at the end of the day, I don't think they do this because they don't want to do a good job. They usually don't know how, or they don't have the tools to make it happen. Just think of how performance reviews work in general. You know, you sit down at the end of the year, 30 days, you got 8 people, 10 people, maybe even 15, 20 people to review. You sit down in your office, you fire up your PC, you take a look at your calendar, you try to find out what this person's done. You're looking at 30 days worth of activity, and it's your opinion, in your opinion only. You don't have an institutional memory of what's happened, you know, day in and day out over the course of the year. This is not the way performance reviews need to work. Last week, front page of the Wall Street Journal on Monday is what does the new millennials expect from their employees? They expect to have detailed conversations with their manager 8 times a year. So they're looking for a mini performance review 8 times a year. That just doesn't happen right now. So there's a big dissatisfaction between what managers are doing and what employees are receiving. It doesn't have to be that way, and we've addressed that. In 11A, we have something called the Conversation Hub, where we're keeping track of all the conversations that you have with an employee over the course of a year or even longer if you want, and tagging that to a goal, a development plan, a performance review. So when you sit down to do that performance review, you don't have to try to think, what did this person do 7 months from now? You can go take a look at how you've tagged it over the course of the last year. And this is not about loading up a complicated system. You can do this right from email. This is what we're talking about, putting tools that people want to use in an environment that they want to work in to make sure that they're getting business performance. The next one is in development. I get to see a lot of career pages. You know, with 5,000 customers, we have a lot of career pages. And if I go look at these career pages, there's a philosophical tenet in just about all of them where I'll see somebody, you know, each company say, people are our most important asset. That's interesting. The data doesn't support it. If people were the most important asset, then why would 33% of frontline managers not have a written development plan? More importantly, 46% of leaders believe that management is not interested in their development plan to begin with. That is not putting people as your most important asset. Once again, I don't think that companies wake up in the morning and say, I want to create an environment that's not great to work in and I don't care about my people. I don't think that that's the case. What they do need is they need help. They need all of you to help them and show them how they can truly make people their most important asset. One of the things we've done again in 11A is we created an environment where you can be right from email and be able to tag into development plans and be able to check out how a person's mapping to their goals, where they need some additional help, and how that help can be put into a development plan that gets tagged into some learning. These are the kinds of things that happen in real time, all day, every day. So that if you walk into, if one of your employees walks into one of your manager's offices, how am I doing? There's a tangible conversation because that's what they really want to know. They want to know what you think about them. Putting them in an environment to have that conversation is clearly the most powerful retention tool you could possibly have. Social learning, too, is changing. This is as much about a revolution as it is about an evolution. What we've found and this is significant, is experienced users have a better impact on employee training than experts. So this whole notion of an expert teaching non-experts, that business model is fading. Having a socially enabled environment where you can talk to a mentor, where you can talk to an expert, where you can do a task, do it wrong, and ask somebody directly in real time what you were supposed to do, the retention on that is extraordinary. Now, an LMS is not going to have all of the content, but it can harness all of that content. So somebody trying to learn a skill can go to one place and find out how they can do this and how they can do this better, and then engage in a community that does this all day, every day. These are the powerful things that you can do in with social technologies. Let me drive this home a little further and try all these together. Imagine you could pull an activity feed from SharePoint or Jive to take a look at an employee profile and set of skills, and then put a heat map together where you could take a look at those skills, take a look at goals and innovation happening in real time anywhere in the world. Layer on top of that compensation data so you can understand what a certain skill set is costing in one geographical location to another. Pool all that together into one innovation team and be able to answer a senior manager's question, how much is it costing us to put that product together? Imagine if you could gauge employee sentiment, not on an annual basis, but in real time. And then you could drill down and find out where morale is weak or where it's strong and take action. These are the kinds of things you could never do with a standalone system. Opening up that system and allowing all the social media to take effect puts us in a situation to have different conversations and higher business impact than we've ever had before. Now, if we're going to talk about leveraging power, one of the things we absolutely have to take into effect is what's happening with mobile technology. This is probably one of the most important conversations that we could have. TI, talent intelligence, is about collecting data. There's no better mechanism for collecting data than something that's always on, transferring data all day, every day, and that's your mobile devices. Let me share a few stats with you to give you an idea how pervasive this technology is. Morgan Stanley estimates that this year that the number of mobile phones and tablet applications will exceed the number of PCs sold. Within the next 2 years, the number of mobile phones and tablet PCs connected to the internet will be more than all the PCs. 2009, we all downloaded about 300 million apps. Last year, 5 billion. People are willing to use their smartphones for applications. Most of them are personal applications. Where the big value is going to be is business applications, getting business applications onto the smartphone. Another great example of a company that's thinking further ahead, that's in the mobile business, that really understands the power of mobile technology is Rogers Communications. Let's hear what they have to say about mobile technology.
The culture at Rogers is interesting because we have so many different properties that we work within, from media to television to publishing to wireless communications. We have a variety of different types of offices and environments.
The LinkedIn integration and the Radar application that I just saw, and this is initial reactions, looks like another good example of Taleo reaching out to get ahead of the game when it comes to building partnerships. The more that we can be integrated together with a partner and Taleo, the more seamless it'll be from a candidate perspective. And we like that because anything that makes it easier for the candidate to move through the system allows us to get the best candidates into Rogers at the fastest pace, and that's what counts.
My initial reaction was incredible. We talked about the fact that people are connecting more and more through technology today, and it's very innovative and something that I think will definitely add to the suite that Taleo offers.
It's a great example of a company that really has embraced mobile technology, and they know more about mobile technology than most companies. Now, it's not lost on Taleo by any stretch of the imagination that we're going to have to port our applications onto mobile devices. That is table stakes. It's really not that interesting. We'll do it where it makes sense. I think that the interesting question for Taleo and for all of us to answer is, what can a mobile device do that a PC can't, or can't do it as well? That's where I think we really need to push ourselves and take advantage of this type of technology and get a quantum leap over what else is happening in our industry. For starters, let's think about mobile devices. What does a mobile device have that a PC
really doesn't have, and it's location data. You know where you are. So what if you, from this mobile device, you can understand geographically where all your talent is, or more importantly, the talent that you're looking for? Be able to get that on a screen, be able to see where that talent is. Location data is important, but the other thing that comes with location data is proximity data. Where am I in relation to another object? Well, the new version of the Apple iPhone is going to have a location-aware to-do list. And think about this for a second. So I could be at my office, and I get a phone call from home saying, hey, would you mind picking up a quart of milk on the way home? I'd get a pop-up as I drove by the 7-Eleven saying, hey, you need to get a quart of milk, and you're about 250 meters away from a place that sells it. You might want to stop in and get that done. How does that work with talent management? Well, let's say you're looking for a hard-to-find skill set, and you happen to be at the Starbucks here, and you have your Taleo application on that's location-aware, and you can see that the skill set you're looking for, the profile you're looking for, is about 250 feet in front of you. If you got an outgoing personality, you can go introduce yourself. You might even know that person. These are the kind of applications that we need to think about. These are the kind of usages that we just haven't had an ability to do. But this technology puts us in a situation where we can do things different and drive more value. And this is a pervasive technology. 44% of us sleep with our phone within arm's reach. And how many of you have set that alarm when you're in Europe and someone decides to phone you in the middle of the night because you forgot to turn your ringer off? And you're always wondering, did I turn my ringer off? Does it turn off the alarm? Been there, done that. You drop into a different age demographic, and unfortunately I'm no longer in that age demographic, the 22 to 24 to 34-year-olds, and it's up to 60%. It's only growing. First thing you do in the morning, 35% of you check your email. 91% of you, when you have a spare moment, are checking your Facebook, Twitter, and your email. This is a pervasive technology. If we can find a way to get business users to use this so that they're giving real-time feedback and putting you, all you HR professionals, in an opportunity to collect data and talent intelligence, this is what I think is a real game changer for all of us. Now, we are going to push this technology as fast and as furious as we can. You notice that for this conference, we built a social application and a mobile application where we are taking advantage of all the things I was talking about, being socially aware of where are you in relative to the breakout session you're supposed to be in. Download your Taleo app. It'll tell you where you are, tell you where the breakout session is supposed to be. You got a thorny usage problem with respect to Taleo. You're not sure how you should configure it to do this, that, or the other thing. You should be able to get the proximity information for the product manager responsible for that product at Taleo. These are the kinds of things that we could never do before. This is a very simple app that we put together specifically for this conference, but these are the kinds of innovations that we're bringing out. And the best way for you to get a feel for how we're thinking about this is to listen to David Dandino, who runs our engineering in our innovation lab, and talk about some of the applications he's building.
Working at Taleo has been really exciting. My name is David Dandino. I'm head of engineering for the Talent Grid. I'm going to talk about Taleo's new innovations around social and mobile. Radar is a mobile application that adds a geographic component to the way that you find candidates. It allows you to broadcast your position in a mobile professional profile so that when you check in at a coffee shop or at a location, employers or candidates can be found, and you can quickly see their profile, see if they have any opportunities to find your next talent. Radar is directly connected to Talent Exchange, our candidate marketplace. Candidates that are in the Talent Exchange can be exposed via Radar, and recruiters that are using our Talent Exchange can also use Radar. With the Talent Exchange Facebook integration, candidates will be able to socially endorse other candidates, climb a leaderboard, improve their skills. Recruiters will also be able to search through this database, our talent marketplace, to more accurately identify talent. There's incredible possibilities on how we can change the way that you find talent.
Well, hopefully you can see that's just a brief snippet of what we're trying to do. We're definitely directing our R&D budgets into making sure that we are right on top of social and mobile on your behalf. It's going to be pervasive through all of our applications, and I think it's going to be a game changer for all of us. Once again, making sure that we have a seat at the table for how businesses run, because I think we've got a unique perspective on what the future should be for business growth. Now, hopefully I've given you a fair bit to think about today, but if I was to sum it up, it really comes down to three things. Number one, putting yourselves in a situation to have impact on how a business is run. The best way to do that is with talent intelligence, getting applications out there that people use all day, every day, so that data is collected. You can take a look at that data and start plotting trends, start plotting systems, and making sure that decisions are made with the benefit of talent intelligence. 2 and 3 are very tightly coupled. Mobile and social is going to put us in a better position to do the first thing I talked about. We are going to spend as much effort and time ensuring that we have all of our applications in the social network as well as in the mobile network. It has been fantastic to have all of you here at Taleo World. I think you're going to have a great show, a ton of innovation, and thank you very much for all you do for Taleo. All the best.